Hello, today we are doing mission 4b, which is applying the order of operations. We learned a song yesterday that helps us follow the order of operations. The first step in our order of operations is, remember, parentheses. The second step after our P, for those of you that like to write it out, reminder, this is PEMDAS. The E stands for exponents. And these were part of the words to the song we learned. I will post the song as well. Then M and D, that stands for multiply and divide. And then last, adding and subtracting. Remember that when we multiply and divide and when we add and subtract, we do so from left to right. That's why we put those arrows on there. So even if there is division first, if we have division and then multiplication, we do divide first. So let's take a look at a couple examples. This first one's a word problem. It says a basketball game costs $5 for adults and $3 for students. How much will it cost to take 2 adults and 4 students to the game? Write an expression first and then solve it. So I'm going to just label this. We have 2 parts. Write and then solve. So let's write our expression. We know each adult ticket costs $5 and there are 2 adults. So $5 times 2 adults. And we have $4 students, and it's $3 for each student. So plus we have 4 students, each multiplied by $3. $3 per student. So now when we follow our order of operations, we don't have any parentheses. However, if you wanted to include them here, because you need to evaluate each of these first, you technically could, but we normally don't add parentheses unless they tell us to add parentheses in an equation. So we could get rid of those just so that we know we can't normally just add parentheses. We don't have any exponents. We do have multiplication and division. So we're going to simplify 5 times 2, which is 10. And then still multiplying, 4 times 3 on this side is 12. Notice every time I'm just rewriting whatever I have left. And then once we're done with multiply and divide, we have adding and subtracting. We just have 10 plus 12, which should give us 22. So that would be, number 1 was writing our expression, and number 2 was solving. So it cost $22 to take the 2 adults and 4 students to the game. Flip over to the back side. It says solve each expression, show each step. Be careful with your integer operations. Oops, this one I didn't mean for it to go on to the next page. For some reason, I'm just going to put our 1 parentheses, parentheses. So it's all in the same line. Yours should be. So let's simplify using our order of operations. Parentheses first, we start from the inside and work our way out. We have 2 sets of parentheses on the inside, so we need to simplify those first. Within each set of parentheses, you're still following the order of operations. So if there's an exponent, you do that, then multiply and divide, and then add and subtract. So I'm going to do this set first. -4 minus 6. We have all negatives, same sign, add and keep, so it's a -10. On this set of parentheses, we have to follow the order of operations. So exponent first, 2 squared is 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. So we have 4 plus 1, which is really 5. And then I'm going to copy the rest of what we have here, and there's a -2 multiplied out front. So we simplified this set of parentheses, and this set of parentheses, we still have the brackets, which are another form of parentheses left. So we're still on parentheses, so we're going to evaluate in here, -10 plus 5. There are more negatives, so we know our answer is going to be a negative. 10 minus 5 is 5. But since these were touching out front, we know that's multiplication. If you want to keep it in parentheses, you can. But you know that it is multiplied because they're touching. Two grumpy numbers, a negative times a negative, is going to make a positive. 2 times 5 is 10. Let's try the next one. Again, lots of stuff going on here. First, we have parentheses. We can't simplify this parentheses. Inside, negative 3 is still negative 3. But we can simplify our other set of parentheses over here. We have 6 take away 10. There are more negatives, so I know it's going to be a negative. 10 minus 6 is 4. So we have negative 4 squared. I'm going to just copy the rest. And then move on to our next step. We did parentheses, now our exponents. These exponents have a negative number that is squared, so this negative 4 squared is negative 4 multiplied 2 times. Negative 4 times negative 4. Negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 4 is 16. Over here, same thing. Negative 3 2 times is negative 3 times negative 3, which makes a positive 9. So I'm just going to recopy this. 9 minus 7 plus 16. We don't have any multiplication or division, but we do have adding and subtracting. So remember, we go in order from left to right. So I'm going to do this portion first. 9 take away 7. 9 minus 7 is just 2. And then we have 2 plus 16, which is 18. Alright, last one on this page. Parentheses first. We can't simplify negative 8 or these numbers down here. There's nothing to simplify. We can, however, simplify this top set of parentheses. We have 10 plus a negative 8. There are more positives. There are 2 more positives on the top. On the bottom in the denominator we have negative 2 and then a negative 1 to the power of 4. Remember, we know that these are touching, so that is multiplied right here. However, following our order of operations, we have to do our exponent next. So the only number with the exponent is really the negative 1. So we have negative 1 4 times. Oops, not negative 4. We have negative 1 multiplied 4 times negative 1, and negative 1. We're multiplying that 4 times. Every time we have 2 negatives, you're going to make a positive. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is still 1. So this whole piece evaluated. These 2 negatives multiply to make a positive. These 2 negatives multiply to make a positive. So this whole piece is really just 1. So we have 2 over negative 2 times 1. And so we can multiply on the bottom denominator. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. So we have 2 divided by negative 2. A happy and a grumpy, they don't get along. It's going to be a negative. 2 goes into 2 1 time. So our answer should be a negative 1. It does get a little confusing when you see the parentheses. However, there's nothing to simplify it in a lot of those parentheses. Couple more, and it's getting more difficult. So please make sure you're pausing, taking your time, raising your hand to ask questions if you have questions. Again, I'm going to write PEMDAS down here somewhere so I know. Parentheses first. We can't simplify 4 and we can't simplify 5. So then we're going to go on to exponents. We don't have any exponents, but another piece that goes with exponents are square roots because they're opposites of each other. So we can simplify the square root of 4. What times itself gives us 4, and it is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So we have 72 divided by 9 times 4. Oopsies. I want the eraser. 9 times 4 divided by 2 times 5. Those were touching. We knew that was multiplication. So now we have multiplication and division from left to right. So we have to go in that order. We are not going to do multiplication first. We are actually going from left to right, going to do division. 72 divided by 9. If you're unsure to find 9 on the multiplication table, flip it to 72. We should get 8. And so we're done with those. We have to copy the rest. 4 divided by 2, and then 5. Still working from left to right. We have multiplication next. 8 times 4 is 32. Copy the rest. We have divided by 2, and then 5. Still going from left to right. We have 32 divided by 2. If you're unsure, think of what's half. Well, half of 30 is 15. Half of 2 is 1. So we have 15 and 1 is 16. And then there's the 5. So we have 16 times 5. 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So our answer should be 80. That's a lot of multiplying and dividing. All of this, actually, at this step, was multiplying and dividing. We just had to work our way straight across. So let's take a look at the next problem. A lot going on here as well. We don't have any parentheses, but we do have exponents and square roots we can simplify. 3 squared is really 3 times 3, which is 9. And square root of 16 we know is really just 4, because 4 times 4 is 16, plus 4 times, and then we have 5 squared, so 5 times 5 is 25. So notice I only simplified right now our exponents and our square roots, those 3 pieces. Now I'm going to move along to our multiplication and division. From left to right, I come across division first. 18 divided by 9. Well, 9 goes into 18 2 times. Just rewriting the rest. Then again, still in multiplication and division, multiply right away. 2 times 4 is 8. Copy the rest. Still in multiplication and division, we have multiply over here. 4 times 25, think of quarters. 4 quarters is $1 or 100 cents. And then 8 plus 100 is 108. All right, let's let you try one on your own. There's a lot